Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. I'm here giving you guys once again what you guys have been asking for: an interview, a sit down, a conversation, a privy into, a back alley to the conversation with Nyya on Ready to Love. So, guys, I need you guys to play fair, be
Hey
nice.
guys, be nice.
Okay?
It's Christmas week, for God's sake.
y'all better behave up in them comments. I know like you guys like to play around a little bit, so be nice, guys. Be nice, all right. But Nyya, thank you so much for coming on to the show and accepting the invitation. How are you doing today? You all right?
I'm good. It's an absolute pleasure for me as well to be here today, especially with the people. I wish it was like a room where I could see everybody's face and we could like chat back and forth like that so we could just really feel like we're like doing something special. But
Appreciate
I've been waiting to, hear from them, talk to everybody. I know people have loads of questions, concerns, comments. So,
it.
hey, let her rip, but be nice.
Yeah.
Take the gloves off. I promise you they're not needed. The bark is way bigger than the bite.
I promise you, my gloves are off. Don't worry, sis. We like to ask questions here, so don't worry. You're good. You're in safe
Okay.
hands.
I got a
But
few
before,
minutes.
yeah, you got a few minutes, yeah? Cool. I like that. Before we kick off, I like to do a thing called human verification. So we ask
Oh,
some
Lord.
questions to make sure that Nyya is really a human being,
I've
not
seen
some
you do
robot.
this.
I,
I'm
I,
extremely
you,
human.
you better get ready then. You better answer these
Okay, I'm
questions,
ready.
sis.
Let me
All
get
right.
some wine. Cheers, everybody. I gotta get ready. I gotta get ready for the people. They talking about get ready for me. I have to get ready for y'all.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Their faces can't scare you, girl. You got
Okay.
this. All right. First question I got. It's a riddle. It says, which letter of the alphabet has the most water?
Hell, I'm human.
It's
Wait, let me
C.
see. Which letter
Oh,
of the alphabet? Oh,
I
C.
said it. I said it. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
you
I'm so
said
sorry.
C. I
I'm so
like
sorry.
that. I love corny jokes. They'll tell you, like, if you interview anybody else, like, I was like, y'all, let's have a comedy show. So I told like five corny jokes, and I had everybody in the cafeteria where we were eating to tell a corny joke. I love it. I
I
have
like
one
that.
for you. Let me see if you
Go
human.
on.
Go ahead and ask
Go
me
on.
yours, and then I'll ask you one after I see if I'm human or not.
I like that. All right, cool. My second question, second riddle is: what has a head and a tail but no body?
I know this. A head and a tail
But
with
no
no
body.
body. Oh, a coin.
Whoo, girl! You reading my notes up in here? What?
Ah,
Okay,
I got
okay.
a little bit of sense.
I like that. I like that. Fire away. You want to ask a question? Go away. Fire away, sis. Go on.
You only gave me two.
I want to ask you my third one after you've asked mine, innit? I'll do my final one.
Okay,
Go for it.
so what do you call a pig that knows karate?
Pork chop. Suh.
Okay, I got one more.
Go for it.
What did the Asian dad say to his children early in the morning? If you get this, you're not human. What did the Asian father say to his children early in the morning?
How chew?
No.
I was gonna say how would
Rice
you?
and shine.
What kind of corny joke is this, Naya?
Of corny
What?
what?
That's not breaking ice. That's destroying it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll come up with a better one next time. Let's get started.
I like that. I like that. Fantastic. We've broken some ice. Let's get into the conversation. So, Naya, I like to ask all my people who come onto the show. I want to know about you because we know what we see on the screen, but we want to know about who the real Naya is. So, my first question is, Naya, who is Naya, and what's Naya's story?
Wow. Somebody asked me this recently and they came up with a better answer than I did. And they
Oh,
said
okay.
resilient.
Ooh.
And I
Okay.
was like, oh, wow. That I would say that as well. I would agree just because my bounce back is phenomenal. And it came probably mostly from our childhood. You know, I always say the things that we go through in adulthood and how we love and understand and comprehend things, it starts in our childhood.
Mm.
So I have had to be resilient since a child, but it's actually paid off for me now as an adult, even going through, you know, some of the things that I did share on the show, which was a tiny fraction of, you know, some things that I've bounced back from and gone through. That's the long, boring part. I
Mm.
am a natural comedian. I
Come
think
on.
I'm a rapper, a dancer, and a singer. In my head, I'm all of those, and I'm great at it because I enjoy doing it. I'm a very hard worker. A lot of people call me a ride or die.
Come on now.
And, you know, I'm very dependable, always, you know, very, just try to be there for, you know, my loved ones and try to always be a positive impact in any life that I may influence or any path that I cross.
I love
And I
that.
love to learn. I'm always like reading books or on a documentary or, you know, just trying to figure myself out because I have a lot of work to still do on myself, a lot of learning that I have to
Mm.
do. So I spend a lot of time in personal development as well.
I love that. And let me piggyback off that last point you made there as well. You spoke about personal development. What kind of personal development are you currently undergoing at the moment then, would you say?
Oh, wow. So I have a life strategist and she
Oh.
keeps me accountable for some things and she does not take sides
Mm.
as far as she's into the betterment of the direction of my life. It's actually I have a team. So I do keep in touch with her and do some daily assignments that she may give me. I also have loads of books that I read, like I'm at my desk now. One is called How We Love, The Confident Woman, Power and Confidence of Dealing with People, a lot of John Maxwell. So books about leadership,
Mm.
books about positive influence, and just understanding people. One of my favorites is The Art of Dealing with People, and
Okay.
it's by Les Giblin, and it just teaches you how to deal with different personality types, or even if you know you're the problem, you know how to become better and you know be more relatable.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
So you're very highly into reading, upskilling, and just kind of just building yourself up, to be
yeah,
a better
because I want
person.
to learn, and I always you know want to be better. And because the industry that I'm in, I'm a hairstylist. I've been in
Come on.
my salon, I'm on my business now for 20 years plus.
Wow.
So I encounter a lot of different people all the time. And there's this gravitation effect that God has instilled in me for some reason to where people are very comfortable with sharing things with me. And so I always feel it's my duty to make sure I have a solid response to help them out
Okay.
or somewhere, someone to lead them to if I just don't have a solution for them at the time. So it's always look for solutions for people. I'm a solution oriented person. I don't think we should have to dwell on issues and problems. Like, let's solve it right now so we can live the best of our lives in a good way.
Love that. Love that. Okay, I love that. And I like to also ask this question as well. So we see the
Okay.
great woman that you are right now. You're
Uh
obviously,
huh.
like I said, you're in your business. You're in your bag right now as
Uh,
well. Who was the child Naya, and what were her dreams?
wow. So, as a kid, I grew up in the country. So that's
Okay.
how we were able to build a lot of different skills. You know, I tell people now they can shut everything down, and I promise you, we still gonna eat. I know how to kill an animal. I know how to grow some stuff. So I
Mm-mm.
had a childhood of always working. Learning how to cook at an early age. You know, those were things that were instilled in me as a child. I
Okay.
grew up as an only child.
Oh,
So
okay.
my cousins and I were only children. You know, my three cousins of three sisters, and then, you know, my uncle's kids would come around us as well. However, we grew up kind of like siblings because we were all only children at that time. So I had the opportunity of knowing what it is to grow up without siblings and knowing what it is to grow up with siblings. So that made me very close and attached to my mom. And I just was with her all my life. It was mostly just her. She was a single mom. So I was exposed to a lot, you know, probably some stuff, not because of her that I shouldn't have been,
Mm.
when I wasn't listening to her. If I listened, I wouldn't have been exposed to it. Yeah, so and we did a lot. We experienced a lot. So that's why, you know, excitement and new adventures are fun to me because that's just something my mom always did was made sure we stayed busy doing something recreational. volunteering, helping people. She was really, really big on giving. So in turn, I learned to be that way as well. Now, at one point, I was a very shy kid, very insecure, closed off in some areas. However, that's maybe, we all have those points in life where we do encounter those type of things.
I love that. I love that. And what would you say? What would you say was your dream when you were younger? What was your dream?
Oh my goodness. I had so many because I've always been just a big thinker and a big dreamer. Like the other day, I was like, oh, I need to fuel up a jet so I can go to my favorite brunch spot in Atlanta and come back home. Like I really, really, and I'm like, it's possible. Why not? So as a kid, I dreamed of growing up, taking care of my family, playing with children, making sure my husband is fine, us doing amazing things, traveling the world, and just everything surrounded by family. And I always wanted a super big house so all of my mom's sisters and brothers could live in the same, we could all live in the same house, kids in the same house. And that was it. It wasn't anything I don't think too outlandish that I dreamt of. Just to have the typical American lifestyle, but a little bit better.
Love that. Love that. Okay. I like that. So
Okay.
I guess I won't waste much time because I know these
Honey,
guys.
because these comments,
I see
know
it flowing.
they are busting out
The
the
teeth are
seams.
just trying to chop man's neck. So
Let's get to it.
they
Sorry,
want to
guys.
get to it, right? So I guess obviously, the first question I want to ask you is, what is Naya's experience of Ready to Love? What was your experience? Give us the totality. What you experienced on that show. Give us
Okay.
the juice.
Okay. Overall, I would say I had a pretty cool time with meeting the individuals that were there. That was my favorite thing. We trauma bonded. So those are things we all had something in common. So that was pretty cool. Um, the parts there were, it's ups and downs, just like life. But when you're thrown into a situation of the unknown, which is one of my biggest fears on my list of fears, like the little scaredy cat in me, because the scaredy cat is bigger than the big girl, I promise y'all. But us being able to bond and be familiar with what was maybe taking place surrounding us. I said to someone, we as Houstonians, it was a pretty nice quality group of individuals. We're kind of spoiled. And
Okay.
Houston has not been named one of the fattest cities for no reason. When I tell you you're never going to run out of great food or great food options, and me, I like a good taco truck or a food truck in the hood. Like the dirtier, the better. So food is important to me. So, but we were all thrown into a situation unknowingly as far as the lack of accommodations. I think one thing that probably kind of got under my skin is because I'm authentic and I pretty much like that back. Is when I am told something or painted a picture of something and I ask 5 million questions for reassurance and I actually believe in that and trust that, that's what I need to happen. And when I get there and it's nothing
Like
near,
that.
nothing like that, it's a huge disappointment, and it's so easy to say, turn the taxi around and take me right back to the airport.
Can you
Because
be
I would have done it.
specific? What
Oh,
was it
well, I mean, just
that didn't?
because it was only because what I imagined, that's not what it was. When I think of a luxury lakeside resort in the mountains,
Okay. Yeah.
that's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm preparing for. When I'm hearing, oh no, you don't need any money. We're going to provide three meals a day. Because I travel and I've gone to several resorts. When I get meals at the resorts, they're rolling a cart to the room, but it wasn't that way. So, that was another thing. So it's just little things that I wish I would have known and I could have prepared better. Like I would eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day. I would have had me a toaster oven and put me some pot pies in that thing. Like I would have been prepared, but because of the pandemic, we couldn't go out and get snacks and get things like that. So, it was one thing I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to get over it and live with it. Then, there were a few things like I'm a communicator. I don't watch television. I listen to a lot of music, and to hear maybe 4 days before leaving that we weren't going to have access to our devices. and that's how I work. That's how I communicate. That's how I pray.
So you weren't told before you went before. So you're saying 4 days before the show actually, before you get
Yeah,
onto the
not
show.
not not when I committed. After I committed, a lot of
Oh,
things changed. But
okay,
because I like to stick to my commitments and I like to keep my word, I went ahead and I'm gonna roll with the punches because you're not gonna have everything you want how
of
you like
course.
it all the time. And I grew up in a life like that. I was not given a silver spoon. So it's like I can roll with the trenches, just let me know. But I've
Mm,
pretty much lived my life and done enough to make sure I eat well and I sleep well. And it was kind of snatched away from me. And I never could get comfortable with it. Honestly, I think I did good for as far as I got because the first day I was ready to come home. But I was like, girl, shut up and sit down and be a big girl. You never know what this opportunity may lead you. Because, of course, it changed from filming for a few months to less than a
mm,
month. So in my head, I'm like, okay, well, I know me. So I already know it takes me 6 months to actually get to know someone. And
mm,
then, do I even like you? So I knew coming into it, there was a huge possibility that I, as picky as I am not going to run into what I need. But then I had to look at me and say, well, you're what someone needs. So how do you know that that's not there?
mm,
And I'm like, okay, God, you're right. And there are so many businesses and things I'm trying to get through in life. So I need to get out of my comfort zone. That definitely got me out of my comfort zone. So I had to fight through it. I cried every day, had a couple of panic attacks, anxiety attacks, but I still, tried to put on a pretty face and a happy face. And, pretty much when I made the connections that I knew that I could even still have once I left and went back home, it really was no reason for me to stay and suffer any longer because I
mm,
knew exactly which people I would continuously still be in contact with, regardless if I was staying on the show or not. And
mm,
it's hard to self eliminate because one, you don't want to give up, and then two, they're not going to let you get off that easily. And then it's
mm,
not like I can say, well, I'm not pulling up tomorrow. I would just won't show up. No, I've gotten driven to somewhere where I couldn't even tell you how to get there again.
mm.
So, and I don't have a device to keep my location turned on. So I'm like, oh God. But
So,
yeah,
to narrow it down, so one, the resort didn't meet the expectations that you had because one, the food wasn't great, and you're not the only one that said this, so this is not like so the food wasn't necessarily great. Then obviously I'm guessing, was it the living standards itself wasn't great, like in
yeah,
terms
the
of.
standards of the accommodations. But the thing about it is I saw effort. I
Okay.
knew that they were also probably taken a little bit off guard because no one knew what to expect. But it's not like you say, oh, we ain't doing it. So, I can tell there was effort to make it comfortable. The candles, the blankets, the snacks, the little things really, really made a big difference because you mean the staff and the cast and the crew are all dealing with the same stuff, except Mr. Miles, of course. He has
Mm.
much better food, I'm sure.
I
Yeah,
hear
but
you.
those things just were not tolerable. Not having access to my comfort zones, my
Mm.
people, my music, my YouTube videos.
So
My
none of that was accessible. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So it's like, okay,
Okay.
pick one struggle. I had to deal with too many at one time, but the
Mm.
people made it better. Like all 19 of them just are just some gems to me. I've learned something from everyone.
Okay. I respect that. I respect that. And
So
I
I
don't know if
didn't
you can.
like it there.
You didn't like it. I can
I like the
understand.
people.
I understand. There was a There was a I heard there was a rumor. Was there a cockroach? I heard there was a cockroach that was running around. I ain't gonna lie to you. I heard there was a cockroach running around. Is it true?
Woo! I missed that one.
Oh, okay, cool. Maybe I heard
I
it
missed
in the
that one.
grapevine. I'm
Oh
just
my
saying.
God. No.
I thought you could confirm it, but if you didn't see it, maybe it didn't exist. Maybe
Now,
it didn't exist.
my big mouth, I would have said, you would have heard me say that by now.
I
I'm
just had to
trying
make
not to
sure.
talk so much.
Don't worry, girl. I just had to make sure. No worries, no worries. All right, cool. So obviously, what was your actual reason then for actually going on the show for you? What was your reason why you went on the show?
My initial reason or when things changed?
Oh, I guess in the very beginning, then initial reason why you went on the show. Yeah.
Okay, the initial reason was definitely to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I had nothing going on. So someone kept asking me about it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll see. So I was like, let me go see this because I don't watch television. So I knew that I had saw it one time and I was like, oh, this is cool. And when I saw it again was when I was thinking about accepting the offer to, I guess, do the show. So it was perfect because one, it was going to be here. And, I like the dating process and to have a team of people and experts to do the vetting for me. Because when I tell you, I make some bad decisions.
Okay.
Like I'm always in a relationship and
Okay.
it's some good long term, but I just, my decisions to say okay and accept some of this stuff just wasn't the right decision. So I said, okay, these experts will be able to help me out a little bit, and along with the Holy Spirit, and we'll see what happens. So I actually anticipated it, was excited about it, and then because I knew I needed it. I knew I was at a place where I had taken a couple years off to work on me, to, get healed, to learn how to love myself better and love myself more and know whose I am and what God I serve. Like I needed to know this. I needed reassurance in so much areas, so many, because I was attracting what was in me, toxicity. So I was attracting toxic guys. They say kindred spirits and like minds. So I was like, oh, that's why I think ain't nobody shit. Because at the time I wasn't shit. So I had to reboot, and I still got a long way to go. So, but at that time I knew that I was ready and I needed to see if the work worked.
Okay.
But
Okay.
unfortunately, it didn't happen in the spring, as we had planned on it happening. And summertime rolls around, and finally, we get the call, and things have changed due to COVID. We weren't able to film in Houston anymore. So, it became a little bit tricky because one is summertime, spring just left. I'm dating. I'm having a good time. I'm living my life because I didn't want to stop in case they say, well, you know what? Cancel this season. When I could have been in my relationship. But, it came around, and, everybody that I, kind of was dealing with, talking on the phone, hanging out with, I let them know that, I have an opportunity coming up. I'm not really getting serious with anybody, but, they wanted to still proceed getting to know me. And, well, how long are you going to be gone? And when they realized I was like a month or less, oh, I ain't nobody worried about that. I'm like, okay, well, you never know. I may come back and not to you. So
Okay.
the reasons kind of changed because one, well, I wouldn't say the reasons changed. However, my seriousness about it did change because I can honestly say, okay, well, what's the purpose of this? And when I make a decision about something, I need to have four or five reasons to go ahead and go forth with it. So I thought about different things I was trying to do. I love the network. And if I'm going to go be amongst 20 other successful Houston singles, I'm sure we all have a lot to talk about. And you never know what could spark from that. So I was more excited to meet the other ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
So that's why I went ahead and said yes. And it actually did fuse some pretty cool connections.
Okay. Okay. Appreciate that. Um, for you, you mentioned something which is really interesting. You said obviously about you having to heal. I know we're talking about the show, but I like to
Uh-huh.
deal with stuff that are deep. So,
No problem.
what was Naya healing from?
Oh my gosh. Just past hurt in relationships,
Mm-hmm.
feeling abandoned sometimes. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I lost my mother and my grandmother back to back in 2012.
Okay.
And then I lost
Wow.
my aunt, a little brother, and another family member. So 2012 was very hard for me. And I had just come off of a 9-year relationship. So it was like so much pain built up back to back to back. And, there were so many voids that needed to be filled. And during that time of trying to cope and deal with, the losses of so many people at one time, I would find myself stagnated in situations with people that would just mistreat me because I was just excited to have 30 minutes of their time because I didn't want to be alone. But then I had to heal and realize that, you know what? The voids that you're feeling are not for these men to feel because nobody's going to feel the void of your mom, your grandmother, some areas where you feel like your other parent, my dad, maybe where I feel like, well, he should have been here to do this or do that. So I would put all that responsibility on a gentleman. And it would cause a lot of strife in my relationships to where, they would do the world for me. I remember one time one of my guys took me on a helicopter ride, just to say he was sorry for something that happened. And it was amazing. Like that whole night was incredible. And I had the nerve to say, I don't know why he think he did something. I've been flown across this world. That little 30-minute plane, but that was because I was angry because I felt it wasn't enough. When him, it was the world. And I should have been grateful for that instead of thinking that he's going to cure all my pain, because he wasn't the cause of all of my pain. So I had to go back and apologize to him, apologize to a couple more people. Apologize and forgive myself was the main thing that needed to be done.
Okay.
And I'm still working on that. That's still an area that I have to constantly focus on, which is why I take my time and I ask a lot of questions when I do meet someone. It's going to take a lot of time because I don't want to put the wrong expectations on the wrong people.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot that happened in that space of 2012, and some of the deep stuff that did happen to you in regards to losing people. So I want to say, my condolences on that as well.
Appreciate it.
For you, obviously, then going on to the show, there is a question I need to ask. So the boyfriend comment, do we have a boyfriend before we went on the show? Is that a yes or no? Did you have a boyfriend?
Well, here's the thing. He's not my boyfriend.
Okay. What?
Okay.
What? Hold on.
You just said yes or no. He's not my boyfriend.
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
Hold on a minute.
You better sip that wine real quick. Sip it good, because we're gonna answer that question. So the guy is not your boyfriend, but he's something. What? Please define that. Just define what you meant by that.
A friend in need is a friend indeed. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, does that friend come with benefits? I mean, is that?
At that time, it was very beneficial. At that time, because that was a person that I was dealing with, kind of during that time. And when I could communicate while I was there, he'd be, how's everything going? And he really would try to encourage me, don't leave. I'm like, no, I'm about to leave. I don't know how. They won't let me go. Can you come get me? And he was like, well, when you get ready to leave, let me know. I'm flying in, and we're going to hang out, and then we'll go back home.
So okay, was he interested in more than a friend, or I mean, were you sensing there was more than a friendship there, or potentially for more than friendship? I just want
we
to
were
clarify
definitely
that.
more than friends prior to the show.
Oh my God. Okay. This is interesting because we were, from our point of view, we heard I got a boyfriend at home, and it was like, what the.
Well, I said my boyfriend's gonna meet me in Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
but he's not my boyfriend.
Okay, so would you say that when you came into the show then, you weren't fully then emotionally available then? Because if part of you was, kind of having somebody who may tickle your interest, you might not have been fully emotionally available. Would that be fair to say?
That's fair. That's very fair to say. But me and him won't ever be in a relationship.
Okay. One of them ones, yeah?
So we tried that in the past. It didn't work. We love each other's friendship. We're cool. We tight. And, I already knew what was going to take place. I was only gone 2 weeks. So,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, and he's just a friend now. That's not an ongoing situation. It's just that because I was distraught and crying every day, I'm just ready to leave. I'm hungry. So, he just felt that, let me be there when you get wherever you're going.
Okay, cool. Obviously we got to talk about the Chris situation because that is the big part. Many people in the audience were, I guess, a little bit hurt. Maybe it was the editing. I don't know. Maybe you can explain to us. I think people were a little bit hurt by the way that yourself and Chris took paths away. Because we were really rooting for you. We were like, rah, Chris, Nyya. People are talking about the ground, their feet's on the ground. They got on for these, gone on the waters and talking, and they were sitting on a bench and just looking at each other like, we thought this was Disney, Black Disney. We was excited, right?
Oh, it was wonderful.
It was wonderful. So what happened? I want to know what for you changed your trajectory towards Chris.
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I never changed how I felt about Chris.
So, okay, what was the gun ho comments that were made in the tavern? Because in the tavern, you was like, I was never gun ho over Chris. Da da da
Because I
da. What
wasn't.
does that mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
because gung ho means, oh my God, I'm crazy in love. I'm crazy about this person. And that's not true. And I had already said, I won't allow people to put words in my mouth or define something as something that it's not, because I
Okay.
believe in being impeccable with my word and impeccable in understanding. So I try to keep things simple. And like I said, no, I wasn't gung ho over anybody because I don't even know Chris. I still don't know Chris. Just because you meet someone, that doesn't mean you know them. And in the past, as a youngster in my 20s, yes, oh my God, I like him. No, you like what he looked like. You like what he
Mm.
smelled like. You might like that he got money and y'all can go somewhere. But you really don't like him because if you take those things away, he dirty when you go to his house. That's his mama's car. He's terrible with finances. He lives with 5 roommates. I don't like that, so I won't like you. So until those things are established and I know how someone lives their life, and outside of a resort where they're planning and paying for the dates, it's not what we're doing, then how am I going to know if I like you? And I don't like to be misleading in that way. Of course, in the moment, if there is chemistry, hell yeah, we're going for it. But that's
Mm.
still a getting to, that was only, we'd only been around each other maybe 4 days.
Okay, so do you feel like, okay, so saying that, and I can work with this. So,
Okay.
you don't know Chris very well, so you can't make definitive conclusions as to where you stand, etc., etc. Do you
Absolutely.
feel then, if it takes you normally 6 months to get to know somebody,
Hmm.
I guess for a lot of us watching it, we might be feeling like, okay, so if it takes you 6 months to really get to know somebody, how do we get to the kissing part? Because if I can record the scene where you're sitting with Chris, Alicia, Anthony, and you've kind of you've kind of said obviously yes, we've kissed 4 times, and you went
Hmm.
a little dance, you know, the
Yeah.
shoulder pop, you know what I'm saying, the little shoulder pop, you know what I'm saying, like how is it that it takes you 6 months to get to know someone, but you don't
Uh-huh.
mind, I guess I call it putting your lips on someone's pillows.
Okay.
We
I
just want
mean,
to know,
well,
yeah.
I've had a one night stand a couple of times.
Mm,
So I've had sex on the first date a couple of times. That's purely physical.
okay.
I can sleep with you and not like you.
Okay. Okay.
So that was easy. And then, like I told someone, hell, it's supposed to be a dating show. And then at one day, we're supposed to feel like, oh, this is supposed to be week 3. Okay, I guess people kiss after 3 weeks, but it's really day 4. So then
Mm,
it's like, well, I wouldn't have done that in real life. But then sometimes I've kissed on the first date, I've had sex on the first date.
I understand.
So, you know, so that's how, guys.
So what is your what is, since because you said obviously your feelings haven't changed for him. So what is your feelings towards Chris?
So what ended up happening that day, unfortunately, I don't know if anybody knows how, well, we won't even go there with production anymore, but just put it this way. If you controlling something and you got a puppet and that puppet piss you off, you're going to sling it around and make it look crazy. That's fine. I don't care. So anyway, that same moment in conversation that Chris and I had when the production asked my cousin to ask him a question about finances, because that's not what we do in my family, and
Okay.
she was uncomfortable asking it, but we're team players.
Mm,
And when he said that answer, yeah, he said 50-50.
okay.
I never said 50-50.
Yeah,
Things
he
you
said it.
have to
Yeah.
sit down and figure out how it's going to work for you. Me, I've always been a worker. I'm always going to be a worker. I just like to know what people's mindset is regarding finances, because you can have the money and not have the mind. And then
Hmm.
you can have the mindset, and it will take someone like me to come in your life to make sure you got the mindset and the money, because that's what we're going to do. And so Chris's response, it threw me off only because we're around the same age. And I thought that a lot of people have done the work and
Hmm.
they pretty much know how to answer questions. But that may not have been his thing, because that question would have thrown me off as well. Like, wait, if his friends came and they started asking me certain questions like that, I'm comfortable in me, so I wouldn't have mind answering them because I stay ready. But I would have been like, okay, they don't play. But Chris soothed my concern in that same conversation, because as he stumbled, I said, baby, all I want to know is, if I can't work, are we going to end up at your mama house or under the bridge? He's, oh, hell
Mm.
no, I'm going to do what I got to do. I said, oh, okay, well, that's good enough for me. That's all I need to know. As long as we're not getting kicked out of nothing and we're not starving. Because unfortunately, due to my past, I'm going to have to sit down when it's time to make babies.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I don't live a cheap lifestyle. So are
Yeah.
we going to be able to afford my lifestyle? Those are
Okay.
those are very valid questions that I ask
I
early
agree.
on, because I can turn that into a great friendship. Chris can become Uncle Chris, Goddaddy Chris. But no, Chris got it going on. He could take care of me, him, the man across the street, and everybody else. So that's not Chris's story. It's just, they want to, they have a, they have a story to write. They got a show to do. So somebody has to look like the wimp. Chris definitely is not a wimp.
Okay. So
Chris something like a
so
pimp.
what would you say is your feeling towards Chris? Because that's where I think we want to find out. What is your feeling
Yes.
towards Chris? Are you feeling him as a friend? Are you feeling him as somebody who could have been potential? What's Naya
I
feeling towards
definitely,
Chris?
I wanted Chris to stay. Like Chris and
Okay.
I never had any issues. I think the issue where he thought I had a problem is because somebody from the staff came to him and said, "Are you crazy? Do you know that's the first way to turn a woman off? To say something about splitting bills and you don't have no money?" They made him feel bad. I didn't, because he answered the question. So
Okay.
later on, that's on his brain
Hmm.
while I'm on a date with somebody else and my cousin, because I had two dates with my family that you guys unfortunately didn't get a chance to see. So, when I saw Chris again, I'm like, "Are you okay?" Because he looked disheveled.
Mm.
And he was like, "No, I'm not." I said, "Okay, well, let me finish what I'm doing here and we'll talk about it. Whatever is bothering you, don't let it bother you." But later I heard that he had the conversation several times with other people after we'd already resolved it. There was no need to go outside of what we talked about. Or you
Mm.
wait and you talk to me. Don't discuss it with anybody else because we already resolved it. I don't want anybody in his business. And you see how that went. So
So
later on in the deliberation room with Tommy, I
yeah.
I I want the person that's paying me the most attention to leave. He's been
Okay.
nothing but great to me, nothing but nice to me. I'm fixing his food, very nice to him. Under him, we dressed alike almost every day. Why would I want him to leave?
Okay. So what? So who? I don't know if you can tell me. So who's snitching? Because somebody snitched. Because
Okay.
in order for Rashid to come at the very end and say some of the guys did not like the way that you behaved towards Chris,
Mm-hmm.
somebody was snitching. So one of the girls or either production, I don't know, but somebody was snitching because that information should have never got back to Chris. Because obviously it was a girls' conversation in the
Mm-hmm.
tavern. So how did that information then get to
Which
Rashid and that?
which piece of
You know when
information?
obviously because they were Rashid was coming to at the very end saying obviously the guys didn't like the way that you handled, I guess, the situation with Chris,
Oh,
etc., etc.
okay. Well, those were lines he was given to tell, because
Okay,
everybody knew that wasn't true. Because none of the guys voted me to. Well, nobody wanted me to leave. Not one person.
okay. So none of the guys felt that
There was
they
a
wanted you to.
revolt that night and the next day
Okay,
from everybody to production. Like, what the hell and how the hell? However, I have no complaints because I was ready to go. I just
okay.
didn't appreciate the lie that was told to defame my character for something that was totally the opposite and not true. But because I was very boisterous and I guess I was very open about how I felt about the lack of luxury, accommodations, food, how we were being treated, and like I say, I'm not an actress, but if you want me to read these lines and say this and do this that way, that means you're directing me as an actress. If you compensate me, then I'll do whatever the hell you ask me to do. But for the pennies, no, I'm not going to do that. I can act a
Mm,
fool on my own, as we
okay.
see.
So for you in the Chris situation, it was squashed at the point in time. So when you had that conversation where it says
Yes.
50-50, it was squashed there and then.
Yes, it was
Okay.
squashed at that point. And being that he said, "I know you make way more than me, and I'm gonna fill in." Well, you don't know that. And then
Mm,
with me, I already pay everything. It's
mm,
nothing to fill in. And
mm.
so it's like, not what would the point be? I just need to know when it's time to lead. How are you going to lead? Because it's not even always about finances or him making more than me or me making more than him, because I'm pretty sure Oprah earns more than Stedman. but
Mm.
Stedman still leads her. She still follows under him.
Mm.
So I just need to know how you lead. And, I don't know if maybe Chris was burned in the past by a woman and she took care of, he took care of her and paid everything and it didn't work out in his favor. I don't know that. We didn't even get to have that conversation, but the best and most amazing moment that we had was after his elimination, they came back and got me and said, Chris wants to meet with you. And I was
Okay, so
excited.
Chris. So after he got eliminated, Chris actually had a meeting with you after.
Yes, yes, we had a beautiful meeting at the fire pit outside over wine, or was it champagne? And we got a chance to hug and talk. And I let him know that, out of everyone in the room, I was the only one voting for him to stay. So I wasn't the reason that he left. How he
Okay.
responded to that wasn't the reason why he left. It's
Okay.
just that he wasn't in enough people's
Top.
votes.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even, as second, because he was, I guess, focused this way as they thought, even though Chris was doing his own thing too. Y'all didn't get a chance to see it. Like Chris was doing his thing. I was like, oh, really? Okay. So that's why I was like, well, let me go ahead and flourish this other situation as well. So we were all doing our things. It's a dating show. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
4 or 5 days in, the most 7 at the time.
So what was happening then with the Edwin situation? Because I think that's where we're all like, what's going on?
Oh,
Because
child.
we're seeing you 1 minute talking to, and I know there's probably a little bit of a timing, obviously, but it seemed like it was the same day because obviously the dress was exactly the same.
It was
So
the same. Yeah, it was the
okay,
same day.
so
Yeah,
so
that
for
was
you, can you tell us what was going through your mind? What's happening as to get you to a place where now you are now kissing and putting lips on pillows on Edwin? We want to know that.
well, that
That's yeah.
wasn't the first time with Edwin either.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that was the first one like that because we were sitting at the pool discussing, just discussing things because him and my cousin had a date as well, but they didn't show the family friend date with us. So at that moment after she left, we were still sitting by the pool. And so we see all types of executive producers and producers coming around. I said, you know what they want. He said, oh, yeah. So we just agreed, we just going to give them what they want. That was a playful kiss. That was just giving the cameras
Girl, that
what
was a playful kiss, girl. Girl.
we was acting.
Lips on pillows like that.
Hey, why not? He got some nice lips, though.
God damn. All right. All right.
I
Okay,
mean,
so
look, let me tell you, I am
mhm.
so like shy when it comes to stuff like that. So I was like, shoot, I know everybody's safe. I know I'm gargling with peroxide. I know I'm sanitizing. We COVID testing. Are we supposed to be pretending this week 5, 6, what? Because I know I'd have been kissed them in real life if we were
Mm.
in 2, 3 months in. So I was confused, and I said, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna just step out of my comfort zone and do stuff I've never done to see if that helps. Because guys always are like, we don't know if you really like it. I don't know if you really like me or if you were really into me. I'm like, well, what you want me to do? So at this point, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna kiss him. So
Whew.
I don't know. I'm goofy. So I'm learning. I'm still learning.
So
What
it
these comments
was
looking like? What's the questions?
what? So, oh, they're just commenting. So obviously, okay. So to help me understand, so it was actually acting at the point when you kissed Edwin. So because obviously before you got to that interlude of a kiss, there was a conversation of questions that were asked about the providing for me, etc., etc. What was that about then?
Those were questions just to see what he thinks about finances. And to me, for a man to know at our age, for you to know is refreshing. I date, so I meet men that know. I meet men who's I'm friends with them and their wives, so I see how things go and how it flows. Even on the opposite end, some guys just are used to people taking care of them or women taking care of them. I was that girl before. I'm not ever gonna be her again.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
me answering questions in a certain way takes pressure off of me knowing that okay, good. He not gonna be asking me to pay a cell phone bill next month,
Mm.
or he not gonna be at my house and his car is getting repoed. Like I need to know that. I need to know that you know your role as a man. If you're a Christian, because I'm a Christian, I need to know it's God, is you, is me, then the kids. You're the head. You're going to lead. I need to know you're able to lead.
Did Edwin answer the questions the way you needed it to? Because when we watched it, I was like, yo, that was a whole lot of good jargon. I ain't gonna lie to you. He it was
Oh,
a
it was much
sweet,
more than that.
it was a sweet little
way
summary.
more than that.
Okay.
But it was way more talk than that. But I actually like it, like
Okay.
to hear people really express their knowledge, and he's passionate about what he knows.
Okay.
So I just like the reassurance in that. That's why he can speak on it, because he knows. So it was refreshing, because that's basic. To be a man in your 40s and you're already taking care of your home, that's what you're already doing. So what's the problem with expecting that? I don't need it for me. I got my own place, a very nice place. So I don't need your house. I just need to make sure you're stable and you have that kind of mindset of where you are in life.
So was Edwin?
I know what I need.
Was Edwin more stable than Chris? Because that's what it sounded like when you were in a tavern. You mentioned that obviously, obviously after the gun ho comment, and obviously you said the reason, or I think before, when you said obviously the reason why you've kind of seen yourself switch a little bit is because you need someone to be stable. So was Chris
I never
for
switched.
you not stable? Okay.
Yeah, I never switched. Chris just left. I would have been the same next day or the same night under Chris at a blanket under the fire pit as we did. That next morning I would have been probably with him at breakfast, but I never switched. I was dating them both.
Oh, sorry. What I meant to say was, because there was a comment that you made about him not being stable, because that's the reason why you've kind of, I guess, maybe not switched, but leaned more towards Edwin, right? So was Edwin more stable for you? This is for you. This is not. This isn't. I don't think it's even a bad thing. Do you think for you that Edwin was more stable than Chris in terms of finances? Is that what you were trying to allude to? Is that what you were alluding to in a tavern?
The way of thinking, his mindset was more congruent. Because you still don't know if a person is stable. They can tell you anything. And just because they stable in the finances, they may not be stable in the mind, or they may not be stable at work. They may switch from job to job to job. Chris is stable in his job, in his career. He's been doing what he's been doing for 20 years. Chris is stable in his home environment. Edwin as well. However, they view things differently when it comes to provision.
Okay. In the show, Chris also mentioned that he did feel a slight difference, I guess, of energy from yourself. Did you feel like you had changed your energy towards him at any point after that conversation that was had around the 50-50?
So my energy towards Chris changed because I'm hearing other people tell me my business.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why my energy shifted. It had nothing to do with mortgage and all that. It had nothing to do with that.
Okay, so you felt
I know that man enough he may have a dream, and I might have a client that can meet that need, and I put those two together, and bam, you got all the money. But that's not it. I only date guys that have money, and their asses is crazy. So it ain't got nothing to do with that. So no, my energy towards Chris only changed because he went outside the house and told stuff the wrong way. Then it came back to me, what the conversations were. And then when he finally came to me, hey, I made a mistake. So this is what I meant to say. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I agree that. I do agree that. Obviously,
don't do that.
Stick with what you're saying.
What you said. That I didn't say that was a problem.
I agree that.
These outside people told you that was a problem. I know how to make a decision, and if I feel like I made the wrong decision, I know how to make it right. So yeah, I'm not insensitive like that. I'm very, very respectful and protective of people's feelings. However, I'm not gonna let nobody Jew me any kind of way, or label me to something that I'm not. I'm gonna definitely defend who I am and admit to whether it's good, bad, or ugly. But no, I would never switch up on someone like that. I mean, why would I do that?
And I agree that, because I think in my review I did say that I felt like if Chris meant what he said there, hold it down, don't change it. You know what I mean? Like this, as a man, say what you said, even if the person disagrees, hold it down. I don't like to see the changing, right?
Because his reason might be, and this is why, because I was in a situation twice. I took care of this girl, her kids, yada, yada, yada. Come to find out she done went back with the baby daddy. I'm not doing it again. He might have been scarred. But I don't know that because we didn't have that conversation. Or it may be we did have the conversation of neither one of us had a fair chance to see how it looks or how it goes growing up. However, in my journey of doing the work, I had to realize, why am I not connecting with people? Why are these things going like this? I mean, I'll get in these great relationships and it's just always something that's just not balancing out. It's toxic. We argue, we fight. Like, what is the deal? So in my journey, I had to realize and learn there were some things that I didn't learn growing up. I don't know where Chris is in his journey as far as the light bulbs going off and making some adjustments. So I don't know what happened to why he thinks that way. Maybe that's how he was taught. That's not his fault, but we can reteach and we can readjust. And as beautiful as a person as he is, I would have definitely been willing to do that.
Can I ask a question? So Joy at the end of the show went to Chris to send him off, but she made a comment. She said, you wouldn't want to speak to Nyya now and right now. So I don't know. I'm not a tea person. I don't like tea. I'm here. I like to break down behaviors. So, but was there an altercation or conversation? Was there maybe? And I mean, human beings don't always get along at the time. But was there any disagreement between yourself, Joy, Alex, and Simone at any point? Because we saw yourself kind of. It looked like you. I mean, for us. It looked like, I shouldn't even say looked like, it did look like you shut down Alex and you shut down Simone over the Chris situation. Why did you shut down Simone? What was happening there that you had to shut her down?
And now Simone and I
tell us, girl,
about this. Know, Simone, I ain't no telling what that conversation was with Simone, but I definitely do remember that. And I think with I've only watched this stuff one time.
Okay.
So I have to go back and try to remember what the TV showed and what we did in the actual deliberation room. And it was so long ago. So I don't know why people so fresh heard about some stuff we forgot about. But someone stated, oh, he does want kids. I said, well, no, desiring and open are two different things. So that was that response. And then I think Tommy was asking me to explain something. And as I was explaining it to him, somebody cut me off. I said, so in response to the question you asked me. So those may have been, some bites that were taken out to put, in different places. I don't know. I honestly don't remember. But to answer your question, there was never any negative conversation, conflict with me or either of the ladies or the gentlemen. And
so what was that scene?
Because it's supposed to be speculated, like Chris felt bad about, man, that one question got me sent home. No, the fact that nobody else voted for you got you sent home. That question didn't have nothing to do with the price of tea in China. And that's why I need people to understand and look at, regardless of me being the only one that wanted him to stay, nobody else did. Nobody else said his name. But of course, maybe he wasn't thinking at the time, because it would look like that. I don't have that much power and control. If I did, I would have left.
So are you saying that so you can clarify it? Did you fight for Chris in the tavern? That's because obviously for us, from what we heard from the edits, it sounded like you chopped him up, left him for dead, and let man just leave the show. But are you saying that you fought for him in that tavern? That's what we want to know.
I never said fight. What I said is I voted for him to stay.
That's what. So voted for him to stay. So did you kind of like, how should we say? Did you bargain for him? Did you kind of like, what I mean? Because this is the person that you wanted to be with. Yeah. Did you not necessarily fight, but like you spoke to other girls, said, girls, please, this is my one. Keep him on the show, because. To be honest, I think other people could have gone before him. It wasn't my business
to speak to the other ladies. I just spoke to who was speaking to me. I let them have their floor. I don't interrupt them when they're talking. I let them, because we're not talking to each other. We're talking to Tommy.
Yeah.
So when Tommy mentioned that, I also told Tommy, I said, no way, that's not the reason. And I said, because he probably just didn't know that. He probably wasn't taught that. I said, just like some things I wasn't taught that I'm having to learn as a woman now and as an adult. And so we're adjusting. I said, so that's why I wouldn't want Chris to leave.
Okay. Okay.
And he went on, to something else. So it was definitely stated, because one thing about me, I don't like confusion. And I
Mm.
will be the first one to raise my hand and say, no, that's not how it went. This is what was said. This is what was probably perceived. And this is how they wanted it to look. And, people are going to, of course, I mean, if I was on the other end looking on the outside looking in as well, I would have been like, oh, that was dirty. But because I know how things work now, I'm like, oh, they're going to cut this off. They're going to put that, because I'm irritating the shit out of production because I'm whining. They need a villain. They're going to find one. That's fine. I know what God says I am. And, because I don't mind being on the mic, even if we're not being recorded. And I'm saying, oh my God, this dog food is horrible.
Mm.
And, other people be like, shh, we mic'd up. Okay. I'm grown. First of all, what am I do? Get a whooping? Get sent
Mm.
home? We're not filming. I can speak freely. They know how to turn the mics off if they don't want to hear this shit.
Mm.
And so I mean, and it's just, it might have been mean at the time. I stayed hungry and tired and sleepy and irritated the whole time. And I'm like a kid. If I'm hungry, I'm gonna be snappy. If I'm tired, I'm probably gonna be snappy.
Okay. So obviously, yeah, I think we've exhausted the Chris situation. So I think you've explained pretty much what you need to explain on
I
that.
mean, I can keep answering. I don't mind.
Yeah.
People can believe what they want to. It's a television show, yes.
Mm.
Although these are some true things that happen. Some of the snaps and emotions that we may show are most times authentic.
Mm.
However, we'll say we know why, that we know they retaliated, but we don't know
Mm.
why. The why is
Mm.
always going to be cut out most times.
Okay. So for you, Chris or Edwin, which one are you choosing?
For what?
Be a partner. Which one would you choose?
It depends on the day.
Okay, what day are we on today? What are we on today?
At nighttime, I'm gonna choose
Tuesday.
I'm gonna choose
It's
Chris
Tuesday.
at nighttime, because he's gonna be on the radio with that nice soothing voice. I'm gonna choose Chris at nighttime. I'm gonna choose Edwin
Okay.
on Tuesdays because he makes
Okay.
Taco Tuesdays, and I'm gonna probably choose Edwin on Sundays because he makes good brunch. Yeah.
So
So it
basically,
depends
neither
on
of
the
them.
day. Both of them.
So
I,
both of
I
them.
still like. I was the one left hanging.
Mm.
Because I was into both of them, ready to get to know them both, hang out, go on dates, but they didn't like my ass, so they never set me up on dates. It wasn't fun for me. It might have been fun for the other people because they actually did activities and went on dates and had fun. I was just a bump on the log, like a little bad summer camp kid.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, both of them.
So then, obviously, the famous scene we get to see, I think where, I'll be honest with you, everybody was like, "Yo, what's going on, Nyya?" Like, you saw my reviews, bruv. I was like, Nyya, if this is an edit, you've lost it. I'm gonna be
I
honest with
didn't
you. If
see
this is not
it.
edit,
I gotta
you didn't
go
see that.
back.
I said,
Oh,
if
I
it's
gotta
not
go.
edit, you've lost it. I said, because we just see you on the couch with Rashid. Now, Rashid's come to explain a bit of the situation anyway, but we see you on the couch situation. But it's not just that; it's the confessional part. The confessional part added to the end scene where you're with the little producer, where you said the boyfriend part. That all encompassed. I'll be honest with you, the perspective from the watcher, yeah, was not good. I'll be honest with
Right.
you, it was not
Right.
good because it just
Right.
looked like you were being arrogant at that point and just like
Uh-huh.
nonchalant. You came on the show just to be on the show and get your fame and be out. That's what it looked like.
Well, I don't like fame, so no.
Fair enough. So that's how it looks, because at one point I think in the thing it said, oh, you neither care for Edwin, you neither care for Chris. You just don't really care. Like, do you know what I mean? You got your boyfriend waiting at home, and maybe it's the way they chopped it and changed it. I don't know. But please tell
Who
us,
knows?
first of all,
Who
let's deal with
knows?
the couch. Talk to us about the couch. Nah, talk to us about the couch situation. What happened?
Well, Rashid and I had actually had a long conversation. And this is so, don't forget none of this because I need to be able to cover all of that.
Cool.
So, as we were on the couch having a good conversation, of course, he was just stating, some things that he and his ex-wife, when it came to finances, the traditional way, didn't too much work for them. However, being who he is now, things are different. And he did state that the men all came together. Now, this is the part where it started irritating me in real life
Okay.
because I talked to all of the men.
Okay.
Like, people confide in me.
Mm.
So I knew it was some bullshit.
Mm.
And I said from day one, when y'all start with the BS, that's when
Mm.
you're going to get a different person. Because one, I don't do nothing for TV. It's enough of me in real life. I can tell you, I can give you better footage of me for real than the stuff y'all trying to make up. But
Okay.
anyway, at that point, my disposition changed because I'm like, okay, here comes the BS. Because they
Mm.
had to get a lie together that these men came together to decide that I wasn't ready for love because of how my energy with Chris changed. First of all, they not there for a damn romance and to be locking arms about what happened with the other dudes. They all going for the
Mm.
good girls. So
Mm.
secondly, that conversation wasn't had. And like I told him, that's hard to believe that 7 men that I assume to be intelligent are actually very ignorant because they made a decision based on something that a hurt person said or a lie or an assumption. And no one, not one of y'all had a conversation with me, but y'all,
Mm.
all y'all brainiacs came together to make that decision. Wow. I said, I actually dodged 7 bullets. And I said,
Mm.
so I'm grateful that I dodged 7 bullets. And I'm also grateful that I don't have to eat dog food anymore. And
Seven
so
seven
at
bullets.
that
Is that in
point,
relation to the guys you're talking about? Because
yes.
that if, because you were blindsided by this.
No, I knew when I was getting ready to go to meet Rashid what the deal was.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, I already knew. I just wanted to know what BS they was going to come up with because Chris had been gone for days.
okay.
So, so when he said that, I knew it was BS. And that's when I said what I said because I'm ready to go home at this point. I'm like, well, if this is what they use to make up because they know I'm ready to leave, it was BS. They could have come up with something else, but it's their show. They
Mm.
need some action. They need some drama because it was dry as hell. So, okay, here you go. I'm going to show you because my emotions do get real when you try to label me or put something on me that's not true. Don't do that.
Mm.
All you got to do is ask a question and you're going to get a response from me or you'll get an answer. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat anything. So at that point, and because I have done the work and I know what I'm ready for, and I'm very
Okay.
sensitive about what people speak into my spirit, into my
Mm.
realm, and into me, you're not going to look at me in my face and lie to me about who I am, who I've become, and where I stand.
Mm.
So no one's in this world, especially a non-trained, licensed psychologist, psychiatrist, love coach, life coach, or reverend. If you're not none of those, you can't speak to me what I am and what I'm not ready for. And
Okay.
being that it's a show, you're not going to put a stigma on me that's not true. I'd rather the stigma be if you piss her off, she gonna pop off. I
Mm.
love that. Now you know, don't mess with me. I'd rather the stigma be, hey man, have your shit together or don't step to her because that's
Mm.
what the truth is. But to look at me in my face and think you're gonna say, and for that, we feel like, first of all, don't nobody feel like that. You don't feel like that or those other gentlemen. Secondly, I know that that's not true. So that's why, thank you. My time here is up and I'm out.
Mm.
So if you want to tell somebody they're not ready to love, tell it to an inanimate object.
Okay. 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 So I just want to clarify. So the reason why it got frustrated is because you felt like, did you feel like the production were colluding, or the guys were colluding? Because I think I
Oh
got lost
no,
in
it
that little
wasn't the
part.
guys at all. It was
Okay.
just
Okay.
watch the reunion if they show
Okay.
it.
Okay.
It wasn't the guys at all. Like my experience with every person was great, even
Mm.
with production. It was just the treatment that I had an issue with, and the
From production.
puppetry.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but it wasn't things they could really control. But it was kind of like, well, this reality TV. This is how I go. No, I don't, because one, I'm not a limelight person. I'm
Okay.
very private. I'm cool. I have a big personality and I'll do things. However, my relationships, I don't put them in public. I don't post about it or all that shit. I'll talk, but you're not gonna see a bunch of stuff. And with oh, I lost track. Oh, I got so much to say because I'm thinking about this other stuff.
No,
But
that's
yeah, so those my issues was never with a person. And I
okay.
knew it wasn't the guys. And I knew Rashid felt terrible to have to be the one to say it because nobody else would agree to do that.
Mm.
And
Okay.
to this day, Rashid and I are tight. We cool. But
Mm.
I never had an issue with him. I just know in some instances you don't know why people are at the show.
Mm.
Some people are aspiring entertainers. That's not me. However, I like business and I know people make the world go around. So if I could build some type of network and find some quality people within that network, that's a win for me. That's my whole experience there. I don't regret one bit of it, but it was a total win for me because of the connections that I made and just some things that I was proud to say about myself, standing up for myself and standing my ground. And my mama would be proud of me.
Appreciate that. So the whole, at the end, the confession that they put for your ending kind of scene, was that shot before that episode, before that thing happened on the couch, or was that done after the couch situation? Because, you know, that, I think, again, that was another place where people were a little bit like, well, what's going on? It's just not sounding too good. That confessional part.
It was afterwards. And one thing I will admit to is, like, when I walked out of the little room, you saw that little dark forest looking. That's how the property looked. So while they was trying to be funny, that's how empty and dull that place was. So I was actually walking back to my room so I could start preparing. But they wanted me to come in confessionals. I'm like, why? My job here is done. Because one, I've made the connections and gotten people's numbers that I need to connect with when I get back home. But they needed more footage. So it was funny because the producer or assistant producer, I think that's what he was, that came out, he's the one that did it. He don't even do those. But it was funny. So we were laughing. And one, I'm very sarcastic. And I could be an asshole. So what I was saying, and I do apologize to the guys, even if they listen, I think I did already. Those things weren't toward those guys. It was mostly toward production getting on my damn nerves and pissing me off. I'm like, what y'all want me to say? You want me to say something mean? Okay. I wasn't interested in nobody. It was more like, I'm going to be an asshole. I'm tired of y'all. Y'all getting on my nerves. I'm about to go. Peace out.
And the comment about you had several... And the comment you had about several men waiting for you, is that true? I mean, do you have several?
I always do. And what I mean by that is, if I want to go on a date or go to lunch, there are several men that always want to go out and hang out. And it may not just be for dating purposes. They would like to date. But to me, it just may be for a good conversation. I just entertain them because I know they're full of crap. So, yeah, there's always, I mean, we're women. We are the sole, every woman. I don't care if they feel bad about themselves, if they don't think they deserve it. We're the prize. And we're always going to have suitors because we are women. Men need femininity. Men, you know, like the Bible says, men should not be alone. We're always going to need it. And we're always going to need them as well. So, you know, it's always going to be somebody in a stash. I keep a stash.
When you look back on the show, do you regret any of your actions?
No, I wish they would have just shown more because most of I wasn't shown that much. And I guess, what do they like to say? Not a lot of screen time? Because that would have watered down the story that they were trying to make for me. If they showed me holding hands and praying with everybody, it wouldn't have made what they try to make me out to be make sense. If they would have shown me problem solving when there was conflict arising, if they would have shown me when we were playing charades and I was acting out animals, being funny, if they would have shown me doing the comedy show, what would that have done? So they had a lot of footage to do what they wanted to do, but you only see 2 or 3 things that may be disliked by people from the outside because they're not privy to what's going on. There's not a lot because most of my moments were amazing. They didn't show Jay and I on a chess date where we made up a whole new game of chess called hood chess. So there was a lot left out. A lot of the time Edwin and I spent together was left out. A lot of us, you know, doing this and hanging out and having fun. Like, it was like we all brought the kid out of one another. They didn't show that, which is okay because I only have to be what I need to be for those people that are there. So as long as those people know where we stand, that's all that matters because the producers did an amazing job. They did a good job at what they wanted things to look like. So I can only commend them on that because I respect it. I'm like, okay. If I were a producer and I needed things to go this way or somebody irritated the hell out of me, I'm going to show you with your boobs hanging out, with your edges rolled up, with your lash falling off. Like, I'm going to be evil too.
Okay. I reckon
But cream always rises to the top. I like it.
I like that. I got my last kind of 1 or 2 questions.
Yes, because I have
for you. And I've got enough time for you.
Yes, I got
Apologize. I
about
know
10
for
more
time.
minutes.
So let me end with the last two questions for you. For you, what would you say? What would you say in regards to someone else going on the show if there was a season 4? What would you say to them? What would be your advice to them?
One, to find out where you're going to be filming, and to go do it. Have an open mind. Have 4 or 5 reasons why. Because if you only have one, that one can knock you out of an amazing opportunity. Like I really did feel special a lot of times. So that was a great thing about it. You know, the people that you meet, the things that you learn, always go on purpose. But I would definitely, are we going to be in a bubble? Are we going to have access? Like, because knowing is half the battle. If I'm aware of what I'm going into, I can prepare. Because honey, I would have had all kinds of stuff being delivered to that resort or that place.
Last question.
I feel like it's something I can't see this chat room.
You don't go. I'm not gonna lie to you. You don't want to see the chat. You don't want to see the chat. If you want to sleep good tonight, don't look at the chat. Don't look at it. Don't look at it.
I'm gonna sleep good anyway. You know, one thing I don't think I worry about is what other people think of me, because those are their thoughts, and my emotions aren't attached to people that I don't know. But I can pray for them just like they can pray for me. And hey, I know they don't know me. I know them. I don't know them. They know me, and if they didn't like it, they could have exited a long time ago. But they decided to stay. So thank you for staying.
No, I appreciate it. Last question.
Okay.
Last question. So, for you, what would you say that you learned from this experience? What would you say you learned from this experience?
I learned. What did I learn? That I need to ask more questions next time if I do get offered an opportunity close to something like this. I just learned, to just ask more questions when it comes to things like this, only because I'm not a public eye kind of person. And believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I am by myself 99% of the time by choice. And it takes an act of Congress to get me out of the house. The cast will tell you, because when I tell you, they always inviting me to stuff. And I probably show up once every 6 weeks. One, my schedule is a little bit hectic. I really, really am involved in a lot. I have a hair product line that I just came out with that I released after using for 15 years that I formulated in the salon. That's been flying off the shelves. I don't know if you can see. I have bottles sitting here that are getting ready to get shipped off.
Business
But I don't
woman.
want it to get caught up in the Christmas trouble. So I'm a notary. I'm studying for some more things. So it's like I have a lot on my plate right now that I am into. And so it takes a lot of my energy. But, my Ready to Love family, I'll tell you in a minute, her ass ain't coming. But I'm going to do better, I promise. But yeah, we're all close-knit. We're tight. We're cool.
I appreciate it.
Well, I know I am. I don't know about anybody
else. No, I appreciate it. Nyya,
yeah.
I tell you what, like I said, I promised you did. You brought record numbers, almost double what anyone else has done.
Me?
I told you would do it. You broke the internet for me. You brought double figures for us on this channel.
Ask your people, do they want me to come? Y'all want me to come back?
Let me ask them, guys. Do you want Nyya to come back? Before the reunion? After the reunion?
Let's take a poll.
After the reunion?
Huh?
After the reunion, right? After the reunion, we're gonna see you again.
It's gonna cost you after reunion.
It's gonna cost them. It's not gonna cost me. It's gonna cost them.
Yeah, I heard. I said, wait a minute. I need my percentage.
Your percentage? Go over, we got you. These prayers ain't free either.
I know that's right. Yes, indeed. Well, I do appreciate every last one of you. I can't see the chat. I can't see the comments, but we're all entitled to feel how we feel or believe how we want to believe. But I just want to encourage everybody to find something that you're more passionate about than making these networks rich. Yes, we're going to watch it, but when God gives us as a people a platform, a network, a channel, a production crew, and all of that. If he blesses me with that, I'm not going to use it to tear my
Another
brothers
black
and
person
sisters
down.
down.
Yeah.
Black excellence. If we got a black producer, a black owner network, black production company, I'm going to use that platform at such a time as this to speak about black excellence, to speak about Black Lives Matter, and to wonder why the hell Breonna Taylor's killers have not been arrested yet. That's what I would have used my platform for, because I could care less about fake love, real love, who kissing, who still together. My life is so passionate about people changing and things being positive that I don't even watch the show until probably the next day, because it takes out of my mission and my goal. But out of respect for my castmates that are my friends, my sisters, my brothers, and maybe more for some of them, I do it for them. However, I want us to start focusing more on being emotional and compassionate about our loved ones. Some of y'all more caught up in emotions about TV show or people that you don't know, but you ain't called and checked on your grandmother, your mother, or your kids. So I just want to admonish everybody to do that. I'm not perfect. I got a long way to go. I constantly work on it. I got a set of friends that cuss me out and chew me out all day, every day. So y'all doing a good job, I guess. I'm going to go back and look maybe later. Kojo said don't, though.
Please don't.
Yeah, but I wish you all the best, and we'll just keep
you.
praying for each other in some ways. If you guys feel like I need to change and do better, just pray for me. Reach out, send me a prayer in my DM telling me to go to hell and F you and bitch you a gold digger. That's not going to help anybody, because I don't think I asked to fill in on anybody's bill. So being mean doesn't solve it. Send me some prayers and some scriptures.
Guys, it's been an eventful time, hasn't it? You know, you guys came in your droves. They came in their droves, and that's because of you, Nyya. So I do appreciate the fact that you've pulled in such a great big audience, you know, to have a good conversation around the show. You know, again, thank you for, you know, accepting the invitation. I do honestly appreciate that. I know time is precious. Thank you again once more.
The pleasure was all mine. I was excited. I promise you. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Guys, we're going off now. We will be going on live. Give me 5 minutes. I know you guys got questions you want to ask me, I'm sure. So give me 5 minutes. I will cut this one, but I'll start a new live. So if you're on my channel and you subscribe to it, you're going to get the link. If you don't have subscription to my channel, well, you won't get the link till late. So stay on. I'm going to be 5 minutes and I'll be back on the live so you guys can ask me some questions and we can have a real deep conversation. So give me 5 minutes. And we'll be back. All right. Make sure you see the notification.
Tell a million free jokes.